All right, welcome to our video notes on factors affecting animal growth. So let's start with embryo development. After fertilization, the offspring of animals develop in different ways. The growing offspring, or embryo, may develop inside or outside the parent's body. So that word embryo is definitely one we want to be aware of. So we have two types of major development. The first type is external development. This is when the embryo develops inside an egg that is laid outside the parent's body. External means outside, so the development happens outside of the parent. It includes invertebrates, that's a lot of insects, fish, reptiles, and birds. And the contents of the egg provide the nutrients needed by the developing embryo. So you can see here in this picture of the baby turtle inside its egg, that little thing that I pointed the arrow to, that is the yolk sac, and that provides all the nutrients that that baby turtle is going to need as it develops. And it's the same thing for birds. So this is inside of a chicken egg, and there is the bird embryo developing, and it has that yolk that provides the food source, and the albumin, that's actually what becomes the egg white. If the egg isn't fertilized, so if the female chicken is not with a male chicken and there's no sperm inserted into her body, then this egg will just not develop into an embryo. And then we can eat it. So let's think about another type of development. And this is internal development. So the development is happening inside of the parent. First, we can have the condition where the embryo develops inside an egg, much like our external development, but that egg is kept or retained inside the parent's body. The developing embryo still gets all of its nutrients from the egg's yolk, just like the offspring of egg-laying animals, like our chicken or our turtle. But the egg may hatch before or after being released from the parent's body. So in this particular set of pictures, that's a blue-tongued skink, and it's called blue-tongued because it has a blue tongue. And it actually has the eggs hatch inside the mother's body, and then the baby skink is born. That's out of its mother's cloaca. So it develops inside an egg just like the turtle did, but that egg stays inside the mother's body until it's time to hatch, and then it hatches, and then they push out the baby skink. And this can be found in fish, amphibians, and reptiles. And then our last major type of embryo development is still internal, but this time we're talking about placental mammals. These are mammals that have a placenta. So this is animals like elephants, wolves, and humans. The embryo develops inside the parent's body. The parent, not an egg yolk, but a parent, provides the embryo with everything it needs during its development. Essential nutrients and gases are exchanged between the embryo and the mother through an organ called the placenta. The embryo develops inside its parent's body until its own body systems can function on their own. So you can see in this picture, this is the uterine wall. So that is the uterus is the organ that embryos develop in, especially in mammals. And then the offspring is connected through an umbilical cord to that placenta. And food and oxygen can be delivered to the embryo, and then waste and carbon dioxide can be removed. And then we have a picture here. Oh, that is what a baby elephant looks like developing in utero in the womb. And you can see it has its umbilical cord connecting it to the placenta. So let's think about what might change after birth as far as how development occurs. Many young animals, including most vertebrates, so things with a backbone, like fish, mammals, and reptiles, resemble or look like small versions of adults from the time they are born. So you can look at it and know what that's going to grow up to be. Metamorphosis, this is a process I'm sure you've heard of before, is the process of undergoing major body changes as the organism grows and develops into an adult. And here we have a picture of crayfish or other crustaceans, such as crab and shrimp, begin their lives as tiny little larvae. All right, so I have my egg, and then it hatches into a larva. And you can see this larva stage doesn't necessarily look like my adult crayfish. It's not until it reaches close to adult phase that it starts to look like it will as an adult. All right, let's think about what factors can affect how an animal grows and develops. External factors. These are environmental conditions that an animal may or may not have control over. This includes access to resources and exposure to diseases and parasites, and these can really affect growth and development. If an animal does not receive the nutrition they need during development, or if they become sick, they may not reach their full adult size. Space is another resource that can affect animal growth. And you may have heard of this with goldfish. If a goldfish is kept in too small of a tank, so this picture, that tank is nowhere near big enough for a goldfish, it does affect their growth, right? That small space means that they're not getting the exercise, the oxygen, the other things that they need to grow to their full size. And so it actually has a very negative effect on a goldfish to be in too small a space. It will never reach its full potential size. Then there's internal factors. Internal factors include genetic and hormonal characteristics that are part of an organism's life process. And genetics and hormones should be something we remember from our body systems unit. Genes, let's start there. Remember, genes code for traits inside our bodies. The genes an offspring inherits from its parents have a major impact on how the offspring develops and grows. Think about the heights of your classmates. There's some pretty large variations in the height of the students in our classes. Part of these differences are due to the genes your classmates have inherited from your parents. Hormones. Naturally produced chemicals produced by animals' bodies. And we talked about hormones as far as chemical messengers within our bodies. Testosterone is a great example of a hormone. So it's a hormone that can affect the size and amount of muscle in an organism's body. If it's a case of the male of a species producing more testosterone than the female of a species, the males will tend to be bigger in size than the females.